lost my hair, guys. If you hear the dog in the background, no, you don't. Come back. All right. I think I'm in the middle now. We'll see. All right. Welcome back to Carry On Fire Family podcast. I guess I should say that. It's a podcast. Yeah. Today's episode is one of those conversations that will stay with you. Gonna put a trigger warning on this. We are talking to a widow of a firefighter today. I'm honored to sit down with Caylie Valenta, the widow of firefighter paramedic Andy Valenta. Caylie went from a happy firewife with an amazing husband and two beautiful girls to a widow and a solo parent in the blink of an eye. Their world was shattered with his loss, and they will never be the same again. Caylie has been working on rebuilding her life and raising her two young daughters, Lily and Grace. Caylie saw the lack of cancer screening happening throughout many fire departments and wanted to make a change. She knew it was just a matter of time before another firefighter died from skin cancer. She co-founded the Andy Valenta Melanoma Foundation, never imagining it would become so successful so quickly. And that just shows you that we probably have serious lack of resources when it comes to cancer screening. Caylie loves being able to give back to firefighters throughout California that work tirelessly to protect and care for all of us. She's also a mentor with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, helping other women go through what she has been through. She also volunteers as an ambassador for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. In addition to foundation work, Caylie has been a PA, physician's assistant, for over 13 years. She's passionate about improving people's physical health in the clinic and at fire stations. And in her spare time, let's be honest, she doesn't sound like she has much. The kids take up all of her time. So we're going to talk about Andy's life, his diagnosis, the heartbreak of losing him, and the powerful legacy being carried forward in his name. This might get deep, but it's very important that we talk about this. So let's dive in. Okay. Caylie, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Very excited to talk to you today. You have a very powerful story. So before we kind of talk about Andy's diagnosis and the foundation, can you tell us about him as a person, who he was kind of outside of the uniform?
I mean, this might sound cliche because I was married to him, but he really was incredible. He was like a one-of-a-kind guy, one of the best guys I've ever met. I was so blessed to have been the one that he chose to marry, honestly. He was the kind of person where you meet him once and you remember him. And I've had so many people come up to me since he died and telling me like, oh, I worked on a training with him 8 years ago, one time down in San Diego, and I remember him. He was a good dude. And he was one of those types of people that really left an impact. He was just so outgoing, thoughtful, fun, witty, like the perfect firefighter, basically, because everyone wanted to work with him. Everyone loved working with him. And then just everyone loved him outside of the department too.
Yeah, they're hard to come by when they're that good.
Mhm. Yeah.
So what did life look like before his diagnosis with your family?
Life was great. Honestly, we were very blessed. Blessed so much where we had multiple conversations saying like, when is something bad going to happen? Because it's too good.
Mm.
Like we had an amazing relationship. We were together for 11 years, married for 7 years, and we were like soulmates. The night we met, he told his friends he was going to marry me. Like it was that type of relationship. It was really, really amazing. It was a gift. And everything worked out for us. And we had 2 beautiful daughters. Life was great. He's an amazing dad. Like there was nothing wrong in our life. So kept saying like, when is something bad going to happen?
Okay,
We really thought it
so
was going to be something with the girls. We never thought anything would happen to him.
so when did you first kind of feel like something wasn't right, or like walk us through kind of what happened up to his diagnosis?
So life was normal until it wasn't. It changed overnight. Like those stories that you hear, that was ours. He suddenly started having these horrific headaches with nausea, vomiting, like migraines times 10, and just came out of nowhere. And I took him to the hospital, took him to specialists. No one could figure out what was going on. They just thought, oh, these are really bad migraines. Poor guy. Well, a 6'3", 200-pound guy that's brought to tears by a headache, that's not normal. And that went on for weeks. He couldn't work. Like he couldn't sleep. It was awful with no answers. And then one day he's laying in bed and he said he felt a lump on his chest and a lump in his armpits too. And I immediately panicked and thought, oh my God, you have cancer. Like this could be cancer that you have. So we got an urgent full body CT and there was cancer everywhere, like throughout his entire body. There was cancer that just came out like overnight. No
Mm.
warning.
What was it like to hear the words, "You have cancer"?
Hmm. It's still some of the most painful memories I have. When the doctor called, it was about 10 minutes before I had to bring my daughter to preschool.
Mm.
So we're just sitting on the phone listening to the doctor say, "Oh yeah, there's masses all over your body, in your lungs, your liver, your bones, everywhere. It doesn't look good." And then we hang up the phone and I just look at Andy and like, "Okay, I'll be right back. I got to bring Lily to school. You stay here
Oh
and
my
life keeps going
gosh.
on." Yeah. But like Andy knew right then and there that he wasn't going to survive. So seeing the look in his face, knowing what he was leaving behind, knowing how much was getting put on my shoulders when that was never our plan. That's what broke his heart. Not that he was going to die because he had a very fulfilling life, but he had so much guilt over leaving me and the girls behind.
Yeah, I can't imagine how you navigated those days just after, and the strength that you had to have to kind of find the joy in the moments when you kind of knew that it was near the end of life. What was that like for you?
It was such a blur and it just felt like work because when you have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old at home and a husband that is dying of stage 4 cancer, it's all work. Taking him to several different specialists, making sure he's comfortable at home, making sure he's taking all his pills at the 6 different hours of the day that we have to do it, making sure the girls are fed, they're at school. Like it was business. I didn't really have much time to just sit and think about what was happening with our life. And then the other part of it is we had no idea how much time we had. Could have been days, could have been years. We had no idea. So I did live in fear every day, worrying that I'm going to wake up and he'd be dead next to me. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know. And the doctors couldn't tell us. He didn't tell us anything. He just said, "Well, it's in God's hands." Like, that's not an answer I want to hear. I want to
Oh my.
know, like, what kind of time frame are we dealing with? I don't know what stage 4 melanoma looks like. And now I know that the survival rate's pretty bad at that point, but I wish he would have at least given us a heads up on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think, like, hindsight, do you think looking back, was there ever a time when you thought we need to find a different doctor?
We didn't have time.
Mm,
We
okay.
already didn't even have time to go through the work comp system because it was such an aggressive cancer.
Mm,
Just 6 days after we found out that he had tumors everywhere, he had a massive brain bleed from 8 tumors in his brain, and he got put into the ICU, and I really thought he was gonna die right then and there. So we just didn't have time. It
wow.
takes too long to get in with for new referrals and new specialists, and we just said, "Screw the work comp system. We're not even gonna wait for that. You're gonna die." So we ended up going through our own private insurance with whoever we could get in to see,
Mhm.
because I did not want him to die. And on top of this was during COVID. So everything was a disaster.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
we just had to accept whatever medical care we were able to get.
Yeah. Yeah. So during COVID, I can't even imagine trying to navigate all of this and then just compounding that with
Mhm.
not knowing what was happening with COVID and
Yeah.
having 2 kids and having to just navigate all of that. How are you doing now? I know it's a crazy question, but how how are you doing, really?
Like currently, today,
Currently,
or
yes, currently.
um I mean, I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It's been about 4.5 years now. So I've gotten used to it. This is our life. My girls are now 8, and my youngest will be 7 in 2 days. So they've gotten used to growing up without a dad. And I've
yeah,
gotten used to growing up, or growing up, yeah. I feel like I'm growing up in a way.
you are.
um, um, I've gotten used to being a solo parent, 100, like 98% solo. I have no family around to help me.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, I've gotten used to managing a home by myself, with, like finances, landscaping, like fixing the toilet, you name it, everything's on me.
yeah,
So it's been a very slow growing process for me because this growth had to happen while I was completely shattered. I was just like a puddle of myself, losing my best friend when I did not see this coming and becoming a solo parent overnight. And I had no choice but to keep moving forward, to take care of my kids,
Hmm.
and as a shell of a person. So the growth was slow, but I'm proud of where I am at this point, how
I
much
mean,
independence and just assurance I've gained over the years.
it takes a tremendous amount of courage to do what you're doing right now. And then on top of that, grieving and learning a lot of new traits that I'm sure you didn't want to ever learn. No one wants to learn how to clean or fix the toilet. Okay.
I'm too
But
frugal to hire a plumber.
I love that. And that would be me, I think, 100%. So, in all of this, you found the courage to say, I want to help other people. I know this is a problem. So, let's talk about the foundation. You started the Andy Valenta Melanoma Foundation. How did
Mhm.
you come up with the idea?
So my husband, he ended up dying from melanoma, which in many cases can be preventable. At least the death of it can be preventable if you catch it early. The survival rate at an early stage is very high. Cut it out, make sure you have clear margins, and you're good. You just get skin checks after that.
Mm.
But if you don't catch it in time, it can kill you. And I saw a huge lack in the fire service when it came to, well, cancer screening in general for a lot of departments, but
Mhm.
skin cancer in particular, because I've seen that even the departments that have the really in-depth wellness checks with cancer screenings, the blood tests and this and that, that's amazing. I'm so happy to see that. But typically what I hear is the medical provider that's there doing the physical, their skin exam is basically them saying, "So do you have any moles that you're worried about? No? Okay, moving on."
Ugh,
That's not a skin check.
not
These
at
guys don't know
all.
what to look for. So
Or
I'm like,
even if they do know what to look for, they're like, that's not that big a deal. It hasn't
oh,
changed
oh yeah, I've
colors."
seen that many, 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 many times doing these
Mhm.
events.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, it doesn't bug me, I'm gonna ignore it. So yeah, I started this foundation to bring free skin cancer screenings to fire departments all over California, and it has really grown into something that I didn't expect, something really incredible. We've been doing this for about 3 years now, and we've screened close to 40 departments across the whole state,
Wow.
about 2,300 firefighters. And we have caught melanoma multiple times. One of them was actually stage 2, and the surgeon said our screening saved his life, which is pretty amazing to hear.
Is amazing.
Yeah, and, what I've really seen that I didn't expect was that, I mean, I should have expected this a little bit. I mean, it's the large majority is men, but most of them have never had their skin looked at, ever. All ages. Guys that are like 60 and they should have retired already. They've never had anybody look at their skin. And their skin, you can look at them and say, dude, your skin's a mess. Like, you've
Yeah.
been out in the sun way too much. You're like, why haven't you had anyone look at your skin? Because nothing bothered me. It- Probably 70, 75% of everyone we screened has never had their skin looked at by a professional. And typically, we have been referring at least 1 out of 3 for a possible biopsy for skin cancer. That is a
Wow.
huge number. That's at least like 1 person on each crew that might have skin cancer. And that doesn't mean melanoma specifically. There's other types of skin cancers that are typically not fatal, but if you leave them and don't do anything about them, they can become really invasive and like go into the muscle, into the bone. It can be a big, big problem. So 1 out of 3 we're finding needs more evaluation by a dermatologist. That is a crazy number.
That is a crazy high statistic.
Mhm.
Wow.
So yeah, we're realizing how much of a benefit there is for this program, how much of a need there is for this
Yeah.
program. Yeah, so
How do you how do you get the fire departments to participate?
it's been mostly word of mouth right
Mhm.
now. We do a little bit of like social media advertising, but it's a lot of word of mouth. And then we have partnered with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, and they go around to different departments and provide just education to the department, which is also an amazing program. And they will also kind of plant the seed of, hey, by the way, if you guys want to get some free skin cancer screenings, we can get you set up for that too. So then I come in and do that. But we've had an amazing response from departments. Um, we have close to 20 departments on our wait list right now that want screenings.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they want it, which I'm so happy about because we can't force them to get screened. So
Yeah.
it shows the slow shift in the culture that
Mhm.
there's people are starting to take it more seriously, especially the prevention, which makes me happy because I don't want other families to end up like us.
Yeah. What do you wish more people kind of understood about the cancer risk that firefighters face?
I mean, before Andy got sick, I didn't even know about the cancer risk that firefighters have, and I've been advocating for that since he died, but I really it's been getting better. I've been seeing, but like from the beginning when someone gets hired as a 20-year-old guy, like they need to be drilling that into the head of this is what you're going to be exposed to. This is what the risks are with this job, so you got to take it seriously from the beginning. And also, if you don't care about yourself, do it for your family because the people who really suffer are the ones that are left behind when you die.
Yes. It's such a big topic, I think, right now. And like you said, it is becoming a little bit more normal. I will tell you, like my husband's department, this is the first, they just signed a contract with cancer screening, but I don't think it's for skin cancer. So now I have to go check with him because I'm pretty sure it's not.
Mhm.
Um,
I
but
haven't
it,
heard of any departments that do have like actual like dermatology specialists come in and look at the skin because these guys are higher risk, so they need well-trained eyes on them.
yep, absolutely, absolutely. So it's fascinating. It's definitely, it's great that it's become a topic.
Mhm.
And it's really, like you said, it's very important that they start this early. And I mean, this is preventative care, right? And now that there's so much education and so much information about what they are exposed to, they have to actually use the tools that are available to them. Hello, like,
I know, and it,
um,
it comes down to like training them the right way earlier on, and then it just becomes second nature to them, and they don't realize that there's other old school ways that they could be doing it.
hmm hmm. What's your biggest hope for the work that you're doing with the foundation?
Well, honestly, it's bigger and better than I ever imagined it to be already, and it's just me that runs it, so I don't want it to get a whole lot bigger because I just can't do it. Like, we're 100% volunteer based. I don't pay
Are you
myself to do
really?
this, and yeah.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
we're
Okay,
we're a
wait.
nonprofit and
How do you get people to volunteer?
that's one of the harder parts. So, all of the screeners, all the dermatologists, they're volunteer. Um, Fortunately, it's just the program in itself is a good incentive because we say, "Hey, come screen firefighters. It'll be fun." And everyone say, "Ooh, we love firefighters. Let's go help them." So that's usually what works. If it was
Smart.
like general population, I probably wouldn't get a lot of interest, but it's like, no, you get to go to a fire station, you get to see a fire engine, and they love it.
That's a good perk. Okay. Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent way to get them to
yeah.
volunteer. I love that.
And
So,
there's also it's such a big impact in such a short amount of time because they'll come for just a couple hours at a time and they'll screen 40, 50 guys and then they'll end up referring 1 out of 3 of those and they'll see like, "Wow, I made a big impact in such a short amount of time." Yeah, and if anything, we're educating them too. The doctors can tell them like, "Hey, you should be getting this done once a year. You see this spot on your forehead? Like that's actually a precancerous thing. You need to watch that." And that's like a wake-up call for these guys.
and they need somebody to tell them that other than their spouses.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
that's also where my story comes in too, because sometimes crews will roll in for these screenings, and there's like a guy that's like sitting out in the rig still, and the crew will tell me, "Oh, so and so's out in the rig. He doesn't want to get screened." Like, "Oh, he doesn't." So I walk out there and I say, "Hey, buddy, you want to hear my story? Let's come inside and get screened, because I don't want your
And
family to end up like mine."
and do they usually?
Yes, unless they say, "Oh, I already have a dermatologist." And I say, "Okay, then you can stay." But if you don't, I'm not going to be happy. 'Cause
Mm,
I came here for you. We're doing this for free. You're on duty. You're getting paid for this. Just do this for your family if you're not doing it for yourself. But my
yes, just
story
do it.
definitely has a big impact
Yeah.
when guys realize like, who I am in this situation and what position I'm in and how my 33-year-old husband died from cancer when he was
Mm.
healthy otherwise, then they're like, "Oh." Shit. Okay.
Y-
Maybe I should take
Mm,
this seriously.
mm, oh my gosh. I should take it seriously regardless, but I
Uh-huh.
digress. Um, what do you think if Andy were here today? What do you think he'd say about what you're building in his honor?
I never pictured myself in this role ever. He probably, I mean, he always believed in me, of course, and I'm sure he wouldn't be surprised with what I'm able to do with myself, but I know that he would be just stoked,
You're
beyond proud.
Yeah, this is amazing and something that is definitely needed. Um, it's just incredible what you're doing. And again, like just having the courage to continue on with his legacy and just help other firefighters is, I I think you're incredible for starting this and continuing and having to have affected this many firefighters already is just incredible. I think it's just
It's pretty
amazing what
cool.
you're doing. It is very, very cool. I mean, if the goal is to just save one family from going through what you had to do, I mean,
Yep,
I
it's
just
worth it.
totally, totally.
Yeah, because the pain that comes from something like this is not something anybody deserves or should ever have to experience, especially when they have young kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just it's an absolute nightmare. It's people's one of people's biggest fears for a reason.
How are your kids?
They're good. They're good now. I have
Yeah.
2 girls that are close in age, so they're at each other's throats, and they're both a lot like their dad in good ways, but also challenging ways. I'm definitely the quieter, more peaceful one between the 2 of us. They are both spunky.
Oh, a lot of energy in the house, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. But they're good. They were really young when everything happened, so my 4-year-old, she was daddy's girl, and she remembers him, and she remembers what happened, but, she still didn't fully comprehend it. Like, a few months after he died, she said, "Okay, I'm tired of daddy being gone. Can he come back now?"
Oh
And my
gosh.
2-year-old, she didn't even get a chance to really build a relationship with him. She was still in diapers, still, like, learning how to run around. So there were a lot of growing pains initially because I was such a shell of a person. I could not parent because they lost, like, the male figure in the house. And I was just a crumpled up mess. I could not parent. So things got a bit out of hand at home. And my oldest had a lot of anger issues. That's how her grief was expressed. Neither of them were really sad, but my oldest had a lot of anger because she felt like she lost control of everything in her life. Her dad dies. Her mom is not her mom anymore. She has to go to a new preschool. Like everything in her life changed at once. So we struggled a lot with her for probably a year and a half afterwards. But we've all come a long way. I had to go through a lot of therapy to help her, and she went through a lot of personal therapy. But I mean, the tricky part with children's grief and something like this is that it's not like adult grief. You can't trace it. You can't have any expectations with it. You don't know when it's going to pop up and what's going to bring it on. I have many other widow friends who have kids that are older, and there are still things that trigger their grief at different stages of life. Like once my girls get into puberty, I'm sure there's going to be some new challenges that I have to go through because they don't have a dad in their life. And yeah, and just they know that they're different from everyone else in school.
Yeah.
So it's something I always have to be aware of.
What's the one thing you kind of wish maybe you guys had talked about before he was diagnosed?
So that's actually one thing that I have no regrets about. Fortunately, we talked about this even before he got sick, just with his career. There were a few times where he said, "If something happens to me at work, whether I die or I end up in a horrible accident and I become a vegetable." He never said cancer, which is interesting. He always thought it would be like some sort of an accident or an injury. He said, I want you to be happy. You deserve to be happy. I want you to move on. There's no guilt there or anything. Like you deserve to find somebody else. So even having that said relieves a lot of, guilt, at least with that part of my life. Um, but also we had a lot of things in order already. Like everybody should have life insurance because you never know. One of those types of things. Like he got life insurance, thank God, because what you get from the department is not going to sustain you. That's another thing like people
Thank
should be
you.
aware of. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
I
like
will die on that
nothing.
hill. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, we had things in order with that. And with the timing of things from diagnosis to when he died, we were able to get a lot more things in order. Like before he really declined and was unable to like sign papers. We like signed things over to me and we got all his passwords, all of those things. So that was a blessing in a way that we had that time because some families don't. Some families, it's just like they drop dead and they're unprepared. So that's why I just urge everyone to have the preparation. It's a morbid thing to think about and talk about, but you have to be prepared,
Yeah.
especially when your spouse is higher risk for death because of their job. You have to be more prepared because any slight little preparation you have will make your life that much easier if something happens. Yeah, we talked about everything. We shared how much we loved each other. I knew how much he loved the girls. He left little things for the girls before he died. Andy really lived life to the fullest. We did more traveling, the two of us, more than most people do in their entire life. Like he really was able to die with no regrets, and no lack. He achieved everything he wanted in life. He got married, he had a family, he had the career he wanted. He was happy. So that's why he ended up saying, "I'm not afraid to die. I lived a good life, but I'm afraid of leaving you and the girls behind."
Okay. Um, I ask everybody this. I kind of already know the answer, but I want to hear your answer. What legacy do you now wish to leave behind for your kids, for your family, for him?
I don't ever want his memory to die because he was such a special person. So that is a big part my responsibility and also the department's responsibility, which they have done an amazing job with that. They have continued to honor Andy in such beautiful ways. I love them so much. Like, shout out to the Vista Fire Department. They are amazing. I love them all.
Do they still come and help?
They do. Yeah, it's been 4.5 years and we have not disappeared.
I love
They
that.
still check on us regularly. I'll grab lunch with them when they're in town. We get invited to all the different events that they're doing. They have an annual Andy V Memorial Golf Tournament that they did in memory of him. Like they're just incredible.
I love
Which,
that.
on a side note, is one thing that I want to say to any firefighters or departments that are listening to this is that if if and when you lose someone in your department, which there's a good chance that will happen eventually, don't forget about the family. Don't leave them behind. You guys say, we'll take it from here for a reason, and you have to honor that. And that doesn't mean checking on them for 2 months afterwards and then just disappearing. Because the first 2 months that's probably one of the easiest times because you're just overwhelmed with help. It's after that, after the dust settles and people start to go back to their normal lives, that's when it hits.
Mhm.
And the fire department they can give the family something that no one else can give. They can give that connection and support that they got from their spouse. And then like that's my connection to Andy still. And that's a way that my girls will always remember their dad too, as the firefighter. And these were Andy's brothers that he worked with, his best friends that he worked with, and they'll always be our family. And those are the uncles to my girls right now. They adore them, and it makes things a little bit easier knowing that they're in our lives and they really honored their word when they told Andy like we will take care of your family. Like, don't
Yeah.
worry about them. We will support them. Like, they have honored that. And I've heard stories from other widows that that's not the case. Fire widows, police widows, and the department just forgets about them. And it's a whole nother grieving process when they just
Mhm.
get dumped.
That's another level of resentment.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
Like that's one of the special things about the fire service. I can't comment on police. I don't know about that. But with the fire service, it's a family.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's a brotherhood, it's a sisterhood for a reason, and that extends to their families. So
Mhm.
you need to honor that when you take that oath and know that that's your responsibility too if something does happen.
Agree with you. Any final thoughts?
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about his legacy. I kind of went on a tangent.
It's okay.
um as for his legacy, I mean, of course, the legacy, it lives on through the foundation and saving lives. It's something good that is coming out of something really tragic, which is really special and something I didn't see coming. Um, but I really want the girls to remember their dad as, yeah, a hero. He ended up dying because of the job that he was born to do, um, which is pretty special. But also, I hope that one day they can look back and see that I tried as hard as I could, despite how much pain I was going through. That I tried to be two parents for them and make life great and build great memories as best as I could. And I know that I've lacked a lot because of my situation, but I hope Andy's strength can be seen through me.
I think you are not giving yourself enough credit for all that you've done. And I mean, I'm sure that it's hard. It's got to be, I can't even imagine, but I think your kids will look at you one day and just realize that you are just an amazing human being and just everything you're doing. And especially just continuing on Andy's legacy. I think you're just incredible for your perseverance and your resilience because there's not a lot of people that can do what you do after they've had such a huge loss. It's, it's commendable beyond. I'm just blown
Thank
away
you.
by you, honestly.
Thank you.
Okay, Caylie, thank you for sharing your heart and Andy's story with us today. Honoring him. This is incredible what you're doing. I'm gonna now try to figure out how we can get my husband's department on the waiting list.
Yes, reach out.
Everyone should be getting cancer screening. In cancer screening, we all know the statistics now. We're very familiar with it. We've got to do our jobs and make sure we are utilizing the tools that we have available. So, what's the website?
avmelanoma.org.
And then if you want to get in touch with Caylie on Instagram, you're at
AV melanoma.
yay, thank you. And we'll
Yep.
have all that in the
Easy.
show notes as well. Um, and if anybody wants to get in touch with you, check out the website and then on the
Mhm.
Instagram page.
Yes.
And we'll keep it on the show notes. Thank you so much for telling your story today. It's very powerful and very necessary for everybody to hear it and hopefully follow through and get those cancer screenings done because that's
Yes.
gonna hopefully save somebody else's life.
I hope. Yeah. Thank you for having me.